What it is, what it do, cyber world, it is your girl, the one and only Ash Said It, ashsaidit.com, ashsaidit.com. Welcome back to the Ash Said It Daily podcast show. I appreciate you guys so much for your love and support. Yes, nearly 500,000 streams worldwide and growing. Yes, I can feel us getting to that 500,000 point soon and very soon. Today, we are joined by executive advisor, investor, and keynote speaker, Greg. How you doing today, Greg?
Hello guys. Hello, Ash. Well, I'm doing just fine. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. So, Greg, let us know, where are you from? Where do you represent?
Okay. Well, I'm from Warsaw, Poland. This is more or less 5,000 miles from Atlanta. So it's a place somewhere in Europe, in a very center of Europe. And yeah, this is where I was born and raised, and this is where I work on a daily basis.
Oh, cool beans. So, when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you were a grown up?
Honestly, I had no idea, but I tended to be quite curious about little entrepreneurial things I found on my way. So the first thing I did as an entrepreneur when I was 14, I remember that I painted a graffiti on a wall of a store and got paid for this. And that was my first entrepreneurial, let's say, encounter. So that was my first venture. But I had literally no idea who I was going to become. And honestly speaking, I'm still not sure who am I going to be when I grow up,
So what were some of the ways that you were testing the water, so to speak, to see what you liked versus what you did not like?
Sure. Well, yeah, that's a great question. So the thing I usually do is I just try a lot of different things. So, for example, I tried many different sports. I tried many different games, I read a lot of different books. So my way of experiencing world is by empirical touching and feeling of the world. So I basically try to experience and to learn as many things as possible and eliminate those that I'm not interested in anymore. And that was the way, by trying a lot of things, I got where I am right now.
Gotcha. So what was one of the first things that you really felt that you excelled in?
I think, I started working full-time when I was 19. So basically, the first thing I was about to do was just sell computer parts over the phone. And it might seem a little bit dull and maybe not very interesting, but I got really curious about how people sell and how to sell stuff. So basically, I really spent a lot of time trying different methods and learning about the hardware and about the sales techniques. And I got pretty good at it. And looking back, I'm sure that sales skills are really important in the role of an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going to take a brief break. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Greg, and we're going to jump into some of these other, he's kind of a jack of all trades. He wears a lot of different hats, which is good. And so we're going to find out which one of these hats is taking up the most of his time. So you guys hang tight with us. We will be right back.
Did you know that some foods can cause weight gain, body aches, and extreme fatigue? These are just some of the symptoms of food intolerance. Well, what is food intolerance? Food intolerance can occur when the body cannot properly digest certain foods. This can result in acid reflux, migraines, and so many other painful issues. How do you find out what foods are causing this irritation? It's easy. Pinterest. With 500,000 satisfied clients worldwide, Pinterest is the #1 way of identifying foods that may be causing discomfort. This simple at-home kit is easy to use, with results usually within 2 weeks via email. It's that simple, all right? What are you waiting for? Go visit pintertest.com and use my special promo code AshSaidIt for your discount today.
Welcome back to the Ash Said It Daily podcast show. We appreciate you guys so very much. Today we are talking to keynote speaker, executive advisor, and investor Greg. So, Greg, what would you say was a turning point for you where you knew that you had to make a decision?
Okay, so the first one was when I was working at a big company as a marketing manager, and I just felt that I was limited, by all the rules, all the procedures and everything. And I decided to make a big step and start my first company. Mm-hmm. So that was 11 years ago. And I must say that was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Absolutely. Now, when you made that decision, what was your first big challenge?
My first big challenge was, where do I get clients from? Mm. And what I did was I asked many former, let's say, colleagues or business partners from other companies who I used to work on different projects. And I asked them, guys, you know me, you trust me. I can provide you with good service. So how about giving me a try, giving my company a try? And that worked really well. So if you're stuck in a corporate job or in a big company and you want to start a business, mm-hmm. really try to maintain good relationships with other people who you work with, because they may be your first source of business.
That's a good point. That's a really good point you bring up there. Very, very good point.
Yeah. So that was my first big decision. Then the second big decision I made was when I was a partner in a company, and I felt I'm just not delivering the value to the company, to the employees, to the investors. I felt that I'm just burned out, and that was, I think, even a more difficult decision to make. And I decided to quit my own company at some point. And it was not an easy decision because, I had some, let's say, good salary there, shares, etc. But I didn't feel I was really delivering the value, and I felt there is a time for change. So I basically quit my own company, and that was crazy. My friends told me that I was crazy, but looking back from in perspective, it really was another very good decision, because I stopped pretending to be good at what I was doing, and I gave myself a break.
Yeah.
And I really found what I feel comfortable doing right now, and that was another big decision. And I think what really helped me was coaching. So I had a great coach, and he asked me great questions, and this empowered me to make this step into the unknown, basically. But it was a really good step.
Okay. Can you recall, or maybe one or possibly more, an aha moment, meaning that moment of confirmation you're on the right path?
Yeah, I think the aha moment came to me when I started being an advisor, and I started working in the beginning with startups because I thought that would be less risk than working with big companies. So I started advising startups, and in the beginning I did it pro bono to make sure that in case the quality is not so good, at least they don't risk, and I take some risk on my side. And the moment was that when I realized that what I'm doing really brings value. And I think one of the projects that really was the most satisfying to me was one of the early ones when I worked with an owner of a very small local company, and I helped her build a new product and target it into the completely new market. And surprisingly, it all worked. And I felt like, okay, this is where you can bring value, and this is by asking questions and helping people with making decisions, this is where you can really strive, and this is what you can really do. And that was a moment when I saw results, I felt, oh yeah, that's the aha moment.
Last but certainly not least, what advice could you offer to any person that is looking to start a brand new business while they're still working that 9 to 5?
Don't quit until you know that customers are willing to pay for what you are about to sell. So generally build an MVP, build a prototype, and try pre-selling it. Try finding clients at the very early stage, and those who are confident and who can, invest in your idea and become your customers before you have a beautifully baked product. And do not do what I did. So do not quit your job until you have that internal feeling that it's going to work, and the best confirmation are orders from your potential customers.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Greg, for joining us today. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
And I wish everyone a lot of success in doing businesses.
Absolutely. And Greg, let everyone know the best way to get in contact with you and to follow you.
Sure. So you can get on my site. It's gregalbrecht.io. And you can also find me on Twitter at Greg Albrecht, or on Facebook, Greg Albrecht.io. So you can follow me anywhere. You can also read my blog and email me if you wish to talk to me. That's also possible.
Sounds like a plan. We appreciate you, and much more success 2018 and beyond, Greg, of course.
Thank you very much.
Not a problem.
Take care.
Thank you guys for tuning into the show. We appreciate you so very much. Keep in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do, you look them square in the face and tell them, don't believe me, just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for. We're doing this for the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.